Hey friends, it's Warren and Mary from Exploretography bringing you another video in the A to Z series.
And as I've said before, in these series, we break down photography terminology in bite-sized nuggets of information, making it hopefully easier for you to understand. And today's word of the day is bracketing.
So bracketing is the action of taking the exact same image multiple times at different exposures.
Yeah, so this is typically done in high contrast situations. The purpose is to cover as much of the dynamic range as possible. And then what you do is take the images that you've exposed and you combine them into one HDR image.
Yes, and you can do it manually, or you can use a function in most cameras called an AEB, which is an automatic exposure bracketing function. That bracketing function allows the photographer to set not only the number of images you wish to take, but the actual differences in stops that you wish the images to be. So it could be 5 images at a 1, which tells the camera it wants to take 5 images, and each of those 5s will be 0, -1, -2, +1, +2. So you'll have 5 images at different exposures you can combine later, post-processing, or in your camera body.
Yeah, so if you do it manually, let's say you take an image that the exposure is right on for the scene, but because it's a high contrast scene, maybe those midtones, they're perfectly exposed, but you may have some highlights that are blown or some shadows that you've lost detail in. So if you take another image from that base exposure, say +1, that's going to help you get some details in those shadows. And then the next image you might take is going to be a -1 exposure, and that's going to pull some details back in from the highlights. You combine those exposures and hopefully everything's exposed properly.
Yeah, and one of the things you want to keep in mind is this is best achieved when you use a tripod, because you are repeating the scene over and over, and less movement is the best. So tripod would be a really good way to start. There are auto align features in like Photoshop, but those are a more technical, deeper subject to get into. It is possible to handhold, and I'm sure a lot of photographers have, but starting out, it's really great to put it on a tripod. And always remember that once you set the AEB function, it's locked in. So it's always going to keep shooting that way until you disengage it. So once you set it, you got to remember to shut it off, or it's going to be, you can't forget it, because it will impact your images down the road, and you'll be taking single shots at different exposures all along your vacation. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, so if you set it to bracketing AEB to play with and practice based off this great information we've shared with you today. But next time you pick up your camera and you start taking pictures, and you'll see some pictures are overexposed, some are underexposed, you have no idea what your camera's doing, look at your AEB button. It's probably engaged. And,
absolutely.
That should help.
Engaged by purpose and sometimes by accident. I have engaged it even during weddings and started to look at my back of my camera and go, why is my exposure bouncing around so bad? Scared to death during a wedding, and find out that I have actually accidentally turned the bracketing AEB function on. So yeah, take a look at that.
So as with any of our other terminology that we talk about, or things we talk about practicing, it's important to just get out and try it. See what happens when you put your AEB button on. Spend a day getting to know it, and let us know the results. You can find us on Facebook. We have a community, Exploretography, a community of photographers. If you're struggling to understand these terminologies, or you're trying to practice and you're not getting the results that you hope for, ask us on Facebook in our group, and somebody will be happy to chime in.
Yep, and you can connect with us there, or you can also connect with us by commenting below on this video. We try to monitor and respond to every comment that's left on our videos. So if you have a question, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you out.
Yeah, and if you like this kind of content, please subscribe, like it, share with your friends, and if there's anything else we can do, let us know.
Absolutely. Until then, explore,
create,
and do good.
See ya.
Bye.